Hello there guys, it's Panman1 back in, this time with a Steel Division 2 division overview for the 29th Tank Corps. This is a Type A armored division, so gonna be expecting a lot of tanks, as you can probably see right here. So let's dive into it. Recon tab, not a huge amount here. You have your standard dozer squads. I'd recommend bringing those in on either you know, just depending on how fast you want them to be, either on bikes or the Rezbetka, which is probably what these guys should be coming on for me. So I'm actually just gonna switch that right now. Uh, and okay, whatever. And so these guys will just be, pretty good basic uh, uh, recon infantry. You also have the Su-57. This is an anti-tank uh, recon piece, which is pretty interesting. Has good optics, 100 AP shells with 115 millimeters of penetration, 55% accuracy, and 2,000 meter range. So this thing can pack quite a punch. And for only 45 points, you can bring in 4 of them in Phase A. Pretty good. Yeah, with the bikes, this thing's worthless. More dozer squads, motorized Razvedka. These guys can provide a little bit more durability if you want over the dozer. Then you have Razvedka. These guys are kind of just an infantry squad, but with good optics. So take that for what you will. If you need more infantry, go ahead. This is actually one of the divisions where I think you could justify putting in these guys because you don't have a huge amount of infantry. Then you have the Valentine Recon. This thing is very slow, um, and it doesn't have that good of a gun. It only has 61 AP shells, no HE shells, only 75 millimeters of penetration, 40% accuracy. It does have okay armor, and it does have an MG, but it's too slow to be used effectively as a recon vehicle, in my opinion. Uh, and it doesn't have a good enough gun to be worth much. So I'd recommend just going for 5 points more. You can get the Su-57, which is a nice fast vehicle, which packs more of a punch. Uh, so yeah, not that great. Now for infantry, you have Strelki with the PTRD. These guys are gonna be pretty much a standard infantry. Uh, 8 rifles and 2 LMGs. So these guys are going to be fighting really well from range. Once you get into that 500-meter range, you're going to be doing really good with these guys. They do have the SPTs as well, which is obviously better than the Mosin Nagants. So, and 2 LMGs. So yeah, these guys are actually really good for only 25 points, and you're able to bring in 9 of them unvetted phase A. And the PTRD is also nice for just taking out light vehicles, although probably not going to get a huge amount of use from that. For command, you have Auto Camerati. These guys they just have 3 SMGs and smoke, so pretty much just going to be a standard command infantry there. You have Saviri. These guys are going to be your counterpart to the Strelki. These guys are going to be close range, so put these guys in wooded areas or towns and you'll be good. 2 SMGs, 7 SBTs, and an MG, so gonna be a little bit worse at range. Um, but uh, in close quarter combat, these guys are going to be doing good work. They also have TNT, which can absolutely annihilate infantry at close range. You can also bring them on the M2A1, which I would recommend for these guys because it provides a bit more resilience. And since these guys are going to be close range, you'd probably do want to move them up as far as possible with your vehicle. So that's going to be doing good. Also, if you try to drop them into maybe a contested zone, then the M2A1 can also help for some fire support. So pretty good. You can bring in 6 of them unvetted phase A and some more later on. Then you have Automachiki. These guys are the quintessential close range infantry. 10 SMGs with an anti-tank grenade. Put them in some dense forest or a town, and they'll do wonder. You can only bring them in with vet, but you are able to get quite a lot of them. 12 of them on one vet phase B. Uh, I don't think only 6 of them phase A, probably not worth it. So yeah, definitely gonna be wondering these guys in phase B or C. Then for you have more Superi, 12 of them phase B unvetted, pretty good. Just gonna continue holding the line for you. And then some more Automachiki later on for just securing, you know, close quarters areas. Then you also have Superi, which are, well, the smaller version of them, which only have Panzerfaust, TNT, and 4 PPSHs. These guys are pretty weak. They will die really quick. And, I mean, if you can get a bazooka off, or a Panzerfaust off, or a TNT off, then yeah, you'll get value out of these guys, but otherwise, they're just gonna die too quick. Not that great. Then you have Tanko Desaniki. These guys are just 8 strength with 8 SMGs and smoke, so you can do some nice things and they're also very cheap, 15 points. So you can do some nice things with these guys in close quarters combat. But for 10 more points, you can get the Automachiki, which are probably going to be doing a lot more work for you. But these guys are definitely an option. You have Strelki as well. These guys are pretty much another version of your standard infantry. One SMG, 9 Mosin Nagants, and a LMG with an anti-tank grenade. So if a vehicle does get very close to them, they can take it out. But these guys are going to be a lot weaker just because the Mosin Nagants don't do barely any damage. So these guys are really just for holding the line. And for only 5 points more, you're able to get a Strelki squad, which has a much better weapon. As you can see, the SBTs, you have 8 of them, and they do 1 damage, whereas the rifles do negligible damage and have worse suppression. They're just pretty bad weapons in general. And you get a second LMG of the Strelki, so I just recommend bringing the Strelki. Then you have your bike command. This thing's not that great. You can't hide it in forest, so not that great. Then you have Autokamrati, I already went over that. Automachiki. Strelki Kamrati, these guys are going to be just if you need more command, sure, bring them in. Although command is going to be tight on the infantry side for this division. Um, Actually, it might be worth bringing in these guys phase A because you're able to bring in 4 of them. So if you want just quantity over the quality of the Autokamrati, then go ahead. But other than that, uh, they're just going to be pretty much a standard command. They shouldn't see combat, but if they can see combat, then sure, you can hit them with the SBTs. Although, if they're in combat, you have other issues to be worrying about. Then you have Tanko Karmati. These guys are just same as the Auto Karmati, but with anti-tank grenades. Just same thing, really. Then you have Superior Karmati. These guys have 2 rifles and a SMG and a Panzerfaust. However, they are a bit more expensive. So probably not worth it. Although if you really want a last-ditch effort, you can use the bazooka. It does have 240 millimeters penetration, 90% accuracy at only 120 meter range. But if you do get that off, it will kill. So there you go. That's the infantry tab. For tank tab, this is going to be the meat of your division. You have T-34 76s, 1942. These are 55 points, going to be your main battle tank. Well, actually not in this division, but pretty good all-around tank. 9mm front armor, 100mm penetration on their main gun, 2 MGs, just a good tank all around. You're able to bring in 6 of them on vetted phase A. Then you have the T-34 85s, 1943s. These guys are very strong. 110mm front armor, 145mm penetration, and an LMG. So a bit heavier, but still considered medium tank, but very strong. You're able to bring in um, either 4 unvetted, 3 with 1 vet, or 2 with 2 vet. Probably the good middle ground here is bringing them in with 1 vet because they're only losing 1 vehicle for much better accuracy on your other vehicles. So pretty good tank here. Then you have the IS-2 Karmati. This is going to be a heavy tank that also has command. You're able to bring in 2 of them with the 1 vet in phase B, and this thing will do work. 160 millimeter front armor. This thing's not going to die to anything if it gets in the front. 200 millimeter penetration on the main gun, gonna destroy pretty much anything it comes across with a Dishka and two MGs. So just an absolute beast all around. Although very expensive, of course. Then you have your IS-2s, which are normal. These things are just the same thing, really. Just a very strong heavy tank, and you can spam these out pretty good late in the game, and they will do work. Then we have the Valentine Karate. This thing is too slow and too weak to really be worth anything. The Valentines are generally not that strong in this game, and this is no exception, so probably skippable. Then you have the T-34 85 Karate. This thing, for the same availability as the IS-2 Karate, is not going to be doing as good. It will die easier. And having just sort of that sort of resilient command on the field that won't go away is going to be helping you out a lot better than just having sort of a bit of a cheaper command, I think. Then you have T-3045s, 1944s. These things are 5 more points than the T-34 1943, and uh, they just have a bit more damage on their gun. Other than that, not much. They just have some APCR shells. Other than that, very minimal improvement, so probably not worth it. Although you are able to bring in 6 of them, so if you really want to spam that out, you can do that. Support tab. You have combats. These things are going to be your good uh, commander, so bring them in, phase A, feel happy about it. You also have your combat, which is going to be your phase B command, and your other combat, the armored truck, which is going to come in phase C, probably too late to make much of a difference. So probably just bring in the combat half track and the combat infantry is going to be good enough. You also have, of course, your supply. Bringing in 6 of them in phase B is going to be good enough, I think. Then you have Agnamachiki. These guys are 2 strength with a PPSH and a flamethrower and smoke. Really too weak to do much of anything, in my opinion. You have Maxims. This is a not the greatest MG in the world. Only 1,000 meter range, and for 25 points, you're not even going to squad. Just bring in a squad of infantry over this thing. This thing is not that good. Then you have the infantry support gun, which you can find use for this, especially if you're playing on defense, although this is a type A battalion, so that's probably not going to be doing that good for you. But it can pack a bit of a punch, although it will die very quickly to, tanks, artillery, that sort of thing. So probably not going to be worth it, although you can find use for it. You do have a huge amount of anti-tank in this division. First off, you have the 45 millimeters anti-tank guns. Has 4 APCR shells, which do a 100 millimeter penetration, and 46 AP shells with 75 millimeter penetration. So this thing will be able to side shot kill pretty much every vehicle. Not, it's gonna have a bit trouble taking stuff on face on, but you can set up a good ambush with this type of thing. So good for phase A. You're also able to bring in 6 of them in the one vet, so they are gonna be hitting their target a fair bit. Then you have the M10. This thing is kind of slow, 40 kilometers on road, 25 not on road. 75 millimeter front armor, so it can take light vehicle damage. 130 millimeter penetration on the AP shells, which it does have 44 of. At 45% accuracy, 2000 millimeter range or meter range. And this thing is going to be good for your early game anti-tank needs. It does even have some HE shells to take on infantry if you really do need that fire support. But yeah, this thing's kind of nice. You have the ring 2 of them with 1 vet, 3 of them with no vet. So again, middle ground to 1 vet probably going to be the best. Then you have the 57 millimeter anti-tank gun. This thing has 44 AP shells with 185 millimeter penetration, and APCR shells with the same thing. Um, the only difference is the suppress and damage on these, so the AP shells do more damage and the APCR shells have more suppress. But anyway, these things are going to be able to destroy pretty much any vehicle, and that's going to be doing good for you. You can bring them in 3 of them, no bad phase A, so pretty good. More M10s, more 75 millimeters. Then you have the SU-85. This thing is basically a 57 millimeter on wheels. 70 millimeter front armor, so same thing as the M10, or just a little bit less than the M10. 8 APCR shells, 20 AP shells, and 20 HE shells. 180 millimeter penetration on the APCR shells, so that's going to be able to take out pretty much everything. Uh, 145 millimeter penetration on the AP shells, which is also going to be able to take out most vehicles, especially if you side shot them. And then HE shells for infantry support. So this is going to be a very nice main tank destroyer, and you get a crap ton of them. Bring them in phase A, you're able to bring in 4 of them no vet, so probably not that great. But phase B, you're able to bring 8 of them no vet, 6 of them with 1 vet. So probably bringing in, just sacrificing 2 vehicles for that increased accuracy is going to be worth it, in my opinion. Then you can bring in even more than phase C, 10 of them or 8 of them with 1 vet. So probably gonna bring them in 1 vet. You only get 5 of them with 2 vet, so that's halving your number. So probably not that great. Other than that, you have the PTRS-41. These guys are useless. They have a very light anti-vehicle rifle, not even going to be able to take down tanks, and a PPSH. This thing's worthless. Don't bring it in. Then you have the 76 2mm. These guys are, they don't have the best anti-tank capabilities, but they are useful as an anti-tank gun, and they do have some HE anti-infantry support gun sort of functionality, which can come in use sometimes. So maybe, but probably not, considering how much good AT you have in this division. You have all the M10s, SU-85s, and 57mm, so this thing just kind of gets left in the dust. Then for anti-air, you have your 37mm anti-air guns, which are going to be your mainstays. You can bring them on Dushkas too, so it's 2 anti-air for 1. And these things are going to be good for just setting up an anti-air net. You can bring in 4 of them with no vet phase A, and 6 of them with no vet phase B, which should be good enough for your game. Then you have the Dushka. This thing's pretty worthless. It can't shoot down or really suppress any plane unless you bring in like all 7 of them in one area. Um, but I guess if you really need a light anti-infantry support gun, then go ahead, but not that good. Then you have the Maxim 4M. This is going to be just a little bit better than the Dushka. It's gonna actually do a little bit of work, but still not really worth wasting a slot in your division for this, I don't think. Then for artillery, you have off map. You have the 76 2mm off map with this guy, so very light off map. You're able to bring in 2 of them with 1 vet phase A, 4 phase B, and 6 phase C. Although probably just bring them, since they're so cheap, bring them in phase A is going to be doing good enough for you, I think. Then you also have the 76 2mm that you just bring in for yourself, and these are going to be able to shoot far range, just pin infantry, all your standard artillery functions, and they do have a bit of AP potential if you really need another AT gun, but you probably won't need that considering how much anti-tank you have in this division. Then you have Katyushas. These things absolutely obliterate stuff, but they are kind of expensive and low in availability. So bring these in, probably phase B. You can bring them in phase C to get 4 of them, but maybe that's an option. Then you don't have much artillery space in this division, so probably shouldn't worry about that. But you are able to bring in 12 76 2mm in phase C, which is a huge amount, which will just carry you through the end of the game, hopefully. You have your command infantry, which if you really need more command, go ahead. You're able to bring in 3 of them in phase A. You know, they are also kind of resilient. They can take some shots and not die, so that's a plus, but probably not worth it, especially since you don't have much space for artillery in this division. You have some short range mortars. These things only have 3,000mm or 3,000 meter range, only 25 HE shells, low damage. You can bring in quite a few of them. You're able to bring in 4 of them in phase A, but probably not worth it. You also have the same thing, but on a motorcycle, also probably not worth it. Although, of course, you are able to move it around, so it can't get kind of battered with this. You have the 120mm mortar, which is going to fire for 6,000 meters, and it's better. Probably just for 10 points more, though, you can get the 76 2 millimeters, which will do probably a lot more work for you with a lot higher availability. You also have a second Katyusha if you really want that, so that's going to be doing good. Then for air, you have the Zukok, or 820. This is going to be a air-to-ground sort of MG plane, and it can do a lot of damage to infantry of all types. So, and it can also just hover around for a long period of time. It also does pretty good against other planes. So, quite a force to be reckoned with. You're able to bring in 2 of them with 1 vet in phase A. Then you have Cobras. You're able to bring 3 of them with no vet in phase A. 130 points for a really good fighter. Um, yeah, this thing's gonna be pretty much your mainstay fighter. Then phase B, you're able to bring in more of them, but this time with some anti-ground rockets, which will be able to dislodge enemy artillery or infantry, all that sort of stuff. Then you're able to bring in Boston's phase C, or phase B, and 3 of them phase B, 6 of them phase C if you want more of them. And these things are going to be able to drop bombs and pretty much obliterate any ground target. You also have the 10-point recon plane, which is kind of worthless, in my opinion, especially since you have very little space for air in this division. You have Boston's, but this time with 16 50-kilogram bombs, so this is more of a carpet bomber, and it's not going to be doing a huge amount of damage, but it is nice for pinning. Then you have the LA5FN. This is a little bit lower in availability. Only has 2 nose cannons, but it does have quite high speed, 610 kilometers per hour. So fast little bugger, but not that strong. Gets kind of just outclassed by the Cobra. Then you have just another configuration of the Boston with 1,000 kilogram bomb, which will just annihilate anything that it hits. So those are your air options. Then for defense, this is obviously a phase 8 tank division, so it's going to have a lot less in the ways of defense. You do have some MG bunkers, which, you know, good for just pinning down infantry. Trenches, barbed wire, gun pit, basically just the bare bones for a defense tab. And then for income, you have balanced, which is not going to get you that far in this division, not as far as the other divisions, in my opinion, because you do have a huge amount of high cost stuff. You have 85-point tanks in phase A, and pretty relatively expensive infantry. That's low in availability. You aren't going to want to be spamming stuff out early game. Um, and so for just 10 more points than, well, 100 more points over the course of phase 8 than Juggernaut, which is what I have this set to, you're not going to be getting a huge amount more. Um, Then for phase B, you have 140, which is not going to be enough to bring in a huge amount. You're not going to be able to bring in much more than Juggernaut configuration yet again. However, Juggernaut phase C, you get 200 income, which is going to give you a huge ability to get uh, 1 IS-2 out every phase or every tick, and more, you're able to get out just a huge amount more with the 200 in such a high costing division. As you can see here, you have 12 units with 145 cost in phase C. Maverick is going to be what you want to go for in Breakthrough, though, because you'll be able to hit in pretty nice early game and then spam out all your IS-2s on phase B with 180 income. Vanguard is also kind of a good idea for Vanguard might actually be better in Breakthrough because you do have enough Phase A income to bring in a full-on IS-2. Although I don't know if you actually can bring them in Phase A. Yeah, you can. Although you can only bring in 1. So that's an interesting idea. But I think Juggernaut's definitely going to be the strongest, especially if you're just playing in a standard close combat game. Anywho, that was the 29th Tank Corps. Thanks for watching, and see you guys on the next one. Bye.